National Assembly, they are actually welcome to participate in the proceedings of the committee. Members who have called this urgent meeting to deal with a very important matter that has since been widely reported by the media, which has actually triggered a public discussion by civil society. A matter that relates to an alleged loan that was solicited by the minister to an alleged juristic person who is alleged to be a broker of an investment by Polokwane municipality to VBS Bank. You will recall that this matter has been in the public discourse for about, if I'm not mistaken, 2 weeks now. But I think this provides the first official for it to be ventilated. Members who have called the minister in terms of Section 55, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which empowers Parliament to ensure that the executive accounts to it. But I think as we are to interrogate the statement and the report by the minister, we should equally avoid members to be tempted to reopen what the National Treasury and the relevant bodies would have investigated with regard to the legalities and the related matters with the VBS and the Polokwane municipality. What is of particular concern and what is of our purpose as this committee meeting is solely to the fact that Honorable Smelane is a Minister of Justice, who in terms of Section 179 of the Constitution, and most particularly Section 33 of the NPA Act, has got a final executive role over the operations of the National Prosecuting Authority. Of course, this really does not mean that she is involved in the decisions to prosecute or not to prosecute. But in terms of the Constitution and the NPA Act, she has final executive role over NPA. That is the central purpose and the focus of this committee meeting. So I'm outlining this, members, so that you avoid the temptation of trying to focus too much on the legalities of the investments and all the related matters. That matter would have been ventilated and investigated thoroughly by the relevant bodies in a different platform. So ours is to interrogate whether there is a conflict of interest that arises from what would have been widely reported by the media and widely debated by civil society. So we'll call the minister to come and do the presentation regarding the matter at hand. I'm sure all members would have now gotten the hard copy of her report and statement. The minister is going to present from the podium. Then later we'll take questions, comments, and the way forward in relation to what would have been the explanation of the minister to this parliament and to the people of South Africa. I'm sure She is thrilled to have the first official platform to talk to the people of South Africa and take them to confidence of what would have been matters relating to what is widely circulated in the media. Will therefore later take the lower court's remuneration committee in their presentation relating to the draft notices determining the salaries of judges and magistrates. We'll take them as a second item after having taken the minister. The minister will now welcome you to the podium to table your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Get closer. Let me also get closer.
Thank you very much, Chair, and good morning to honorable members of the committee. Good morning, Deputy Minister. Good morning to our colleagues who are here. Chair, let me appreciate the opportunity you have given me and the committee to come and engage with you this morning. As you have correctly indicated, Chairperson, maybe let me check, Chair, if a report was circulated to honorable members. Thank you. As you have correctly indicated, Honorable Chair, it's a topical matter which has been on our media reports and has gained attention in discussion over the matter. Dealing with the tenor in which I was the executive mayor of Polokwane municipality and questioning whether I acted improper or it could have been a best decision made differently. I want to thank the committee for the opportunity once more. I'm not going to go through the report verbatim as members have it, but I've prepared opening remarks which just really touches into the report. And I'm sure when we get the opportunity to deliberate on the report, then we will, I will be responding to the matters that honorable members would want to make. Honorable members, it's a matter of public record again that Polokwane municipality invested money in VBS in my tenure as an executive mayor. But what is not amplified is that on the advice from technical expertise within the municipality, myself as a mayor instituted the withdrawal of Polokwane investment from VBS. My attitude at the time was that if there was anything improper with regards to municipality funds, it must be stopped forthwith. It is important to note that the withdrawal took place 2 months even before the letter from National Treasury ordered all municipalities who were investing in VBS to withdraw their investment. The published allegations are anchored around 2 questions in the main. Did I have an improper relationship with the contractor appointed by the municipality which I served as a mayor? And secondly, did I receive financial benefits from the same contractor? Honorable Chair, allow me to deal with this question. And the first one, the improper relationship. I did not have any improper relationship with the contractor appointed by the municipality. And let me give the context to this assertion. I will touch a bit on the appointment process of Gundu as the financial advisor on investment decisions of the municipality. Mayors are never involved, or councillors are never involved in procurement. So the work of appointment of a service provider is the responsibility of executives in the municipality. And in this instance, an advert was ran, a supply chain management process was undertaken, and Gundu Wealth Solutions was appointed as the investment manager, financial advisor to the municipality for a period of 3 years. This advisory work was undertaken at no financial cost to the municipality, meaning it was not a tender where you are building a house and then there is a particular budget and you are. So it was an unsolicited bid where you work at the commission that you are receiving, it's what you get to be paid for. So there is no money that was paid by Polokwane municipality to Gundu. Honourable members, I will also want us to investigate whether I had relations of any kind with Gundu Wealth. We must start with the appreciation that, as I indicated, they are not a contractor and they did not receive payment. They were appointed to provide services through a procurement process, and this was done through committees of council, which are overseeing procurement, and as per Section 52 of the MFMA, which mandates the municipal manager to report the financials of the municipality every quarter, a report was brought to council to note the appointment of Gundu Wealth Solutions. Did I receive any improper benefits? I did not receive any improper benefits from the contractor, as indicated. Again, I would want to give a bit of some context. When one is appointed as an office bearer in public service, maybe I must start that before being a public office bearer, I've worked for Limpopo provincial government for about 15 years. From a position of an assistant director, right all the way when I resigned, I was an acting DDG. Having moved from Safety, Security, Agriculture, Office of the Premier, in fact, Office of the Premier, then Agriculture, Department of Public Works. Moved into being an office bearer in the public service. It becomes difficult to obtain employment outside public service and even to assist family members due to nepotism and favoritism or any other explanation. But also, political positions by their very own nature are short-term. And that necessitated me that I investigate a feasibility of commencing such a business, and a coffee shop seemed a feasible option so that I could create employment opportunities for myself and my next of kin. The coffee shop employed between 8 to 12 people, depending on some of the work that was contractual, and the staff may not be permanent on a day-to-day basis. And I made this consideration precisely because to ensure that I have got an alternative when the office, public office life comes to an end. Initially, I intended to withdraw partially from my retirement savings, which were coming from the pension of being an employee of the state for about 15 years. I experienced difficulties because of the cost and the charges. If I recall very well, the pension was somewhere at around 800,000 odds, and the percentage of tax and all that was making the whole idea not feasible. I asked Gundu for advice on any other idea on how best I could finance. And I was advised against the the withdrawal of the retirement savings that I spoke about. And in those discussions, Gundu then informed me and advised of a loan product that they have that I could access. In consideration for the options loan, Gundu was not a service provider, as I had said. There existed no conflict, in my view, in securing a loan from Gundu. I took a decision to proceed with the business and the following steps ensued. In September 2016, on the 26th, I concluded the registration of T5, which was coming from a previous company that I'd incorporated, which was called Golden Threads. On the 30th, I signed with both Gundu and Recovet. Recovet was the owner of the coffee shop where I was purchasing from. Following that loan agreement, 575,600 was paid to Recovet by Gundu Wealth Solutions. The capital advance was repaid as provided for in the loan agreement by 3 installments. And the installments were paid from the FNB business account of T5 and Sylvanas events to Gundu Wealth Netbank account on the following dates. The 9th of October 2020, the 12th of November 2020, and the 7th of January 2021. Chair, I would like to contextualize the reasoning and the timing for the payment. T5 and Golden Threads carried for about 3 years the establishment of the coffee shop. In 2019, in October, was the exact time that Sylvana was able to have its account, now trying to be running above board in terms of not being dependent on T5 and Golden Threads. And that was 2019. Preparations were made between myself and Gundu to commence with the payment after the coffee shop had been fully registered in 2019. Prior that, the business T5, to assist the operation of the coffee shop, it was servicing Recovet on the other portion that couldn't be paid from the 575, including rental, including equipment, which some Recovet left and it had to be paid. In March 2020, in fact, in February or somewhere there, we started getting calls from the Office of the National Treasury and Provincial Treasury, meeting the 12 municipalities and informing us that the bank will be going under administration and they would want to commence with the forensics. I informed Mr. Rallium, because I was now supposed to start with the repayment, that I will hold the repayment until the Limpopo provincial investigations are concluded. In total, it was 12 municipalities. If you go to their report, I think Polokwane is chapter 13 of the report. The investigation took about 18 to 20 months. I may not be exact in terms of calculations. But on the 9th, the very same day I made the payment, was the day I officially received the report in hand as the mayor from Limpopo Provincial Treasury. Because the investigation were concluded and I had fully participated, those who have got experience of understanding that you will then be called, you will have to provide documents, you will have to provide municipal council resolutions, etc. That process was undertaken and all of us participated, from the Investment Management Committee to the Executive Mayor. I made the first payment on that day, on the 9th of October 2020. and again on the 12th of November, and the final one, totaling around 849,000, with an interest calculated at about 11.2% or so at the time. So in excess of about 250 was the interest that was paid to Gundu. I've touched a bit on the Limpopo Treasury investigations. It is important that I indicate to the House that the investigations will obviously come with remedial action and corrective measures. Paragraph 18.92 of that report didn't spare me, as the executive mayor, from a corrective measure. And I'm quoting it. It is recommended that corrective action be considered against the executive mayor, Tinka Dimeng, in that she failed to comply with Section 52 of the Municipal Finance Management Act. Considering that Polokwane municipality did not incur any losses, and I, as a mayor, was proactive enough to order the withdrawal of investment, as I indicated, even before National Treasury wrote to us, and the money of council was paid back with its interest into the municipal account. Upon response, we were then taken back again into the Standard Bank, which is the municipal account, by the forensic to go and prove together with the bank as to whether the money was paid truly into the bank, and that step was undertaken. And the corrective measure was sanctioned was to go either to University of Pretoria or the University of Witwatersrand, which are the only ones that offers, jointly with LG SITA, that is local government SITA, a program which is designed by National Treasury called Municipal Finance Management Act. In short, we call it MFMP. It's a 2-year program. I took this corrective measure very seriously. I commenced with my studies the following year when universities opened in January. I registered. It was a block program. I will leave Polokwane every week to come and attend a block of the entire Municipal Finance Management Act in its entirety. I actually concluded, honorable members, this program after I was even no longer a mayor, when I was a deputy minister. So ordinarily, if I had not taken that corrective measure seriously, I would have said, well, I'm no longer the mayor, I'm no longer on MFMA, but I will leave it. But I stuck to that 2 years. I concluded the program. I'd like to draw to a close and affirm that, one, there was no improper relationship. I requested for a loan. A loan was advanced. Interestingly, today I saw something circulating which I'd never heard, which indicates even from the other side that the transaction was Silvana's loan. Much has been said about the conflict of interest to the position I now hold. The Department of Justice and Constitutional Development plays no role in decision-making by the NPA on who to prosecute or not. The office I hold does not have a direct relationship in instructing or convincing the NPA on how to act on their mandate. On the matter of taking the loan, I've dealt with the allegations of conflict. And my understanding was that if you ask for assistance on someone who doesn't have a direct bearing or payment from the municipality, it is possible, and I repaid it back. When the president informed me that he is assigning me to this department, the issue of conflict of interest actually that crossed my mind was not this issue. It was an issue that I am, on behalf of my family, sitting in court on the case of my sister, that the NPA has placed charges on allegations of murder to her. That's what crossed my mind. I discussed it with the president as well, and we both came to a conclusion that it is a matter that is already sitting in court. I have got no say in it. It will live its life and it will come to its conclusion. And I decided I will take the request by the president, because I also do believe that's what even the person that I thought I shouldn't take the responsibility because of her would have wanted me to put the people of South Africa first. And it was on those bases that I accepted the request by the president. And having convinced myself that even in that case, I cannot, will never be able to influence the NPA on how to do its work. And I wouldn't want to elaborate on the commitment I gave them in my first meeting on my willingness to assist and my willingness to be able to cooperate all the time on any needs that they have and work that they would want to do. Honorable Chair, thank you very much. The report, as I had said, give a bit of more detail than the summarized version that I had. And I would like to thank honorable members once more for the opportunity to come and talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Members, that is the long and short of the report by the Minister. Will therefore afford opportunity to all members who wish to interrogate the report, ask questions, make comments, make submissions in relation to the contents of what has been reported. Honorable Breitenberg, Honorable Dana, Honorable Trollip, Honorable Swart, Honorable Sotetsi, Honorable Mutaung, Honorable Matafa, in that order. Honorable Kopla. Am I pronouncing it properly?
Klopper.
Klopper. Yeah, Honorable Klopper, Honorable Nomvalo, Honorable Mkwebane, Honorable Ngaba. In that order. Okay. Honorable Breitenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to everybody, and good morning to the Minister and the Deputy Minister. Minister, thank you for coming to the committee. I'm sure it has not been easy. I've been there, I've done that, I've got the T-shirt. I know that it's not easy. So, thank you for coming. You also, I know, understand that this committee, and I speak for myself and my colleagues, but I'm sure I speak for all the members of the committee, we're doing a job that we have to do. We have oversight. This is in the public interest, and you'll understand that there's no personal animus here. So, I have a number of questions. I'll try to limit myself so that everybody else can also have a chance, but frankly, I could keep you busy for the rest of the day, but I'll try not to. My first question, Minister, is as the Mayor of Polokwane, what was your involvement in making investments? I understand that there's a structure there, there's a municipal manager, there's people who do the finances and make decisions, but as the mayor, the buck stops with you really for everything, and so How involved were you, and how much did you know about investments in general, and in this one in particular? Mr. Chair, I think it might be useful if we get answers to questions as we ask them, as opposed to asking 2 or 3 or 4 and waiting for answers, because the answers may erase other questions.
That will take us the whole day, Honorable Bredenbach. I get the
Okay.
spirit, but let's
Well,
ask they are going to note and they are
all
going
right,
to
fine.
respond to.
I think it's less effective, but anyhow. Then, bearing in mind that you're the mayor and that you have the buck stops with you, I'm making the assumption that you then know quite a lot about what goes on in the municipality, that you make it your job to understand what's happening, and more particularly with the finances. It's important. And so you would have known about this, this investment at VBS. And my question is really this. VBS is not a normal bank, it's a mutual bank, or was a mutual bank, in which municipalities were not authorized to invest. And you do, in your statement, make mention of other investments, Standard Bank, Nedbank, ABSA, Investec. Those are proper banks, not a mutual bank. And you were not entitled as the municipality to make investments in a mutual bank. So the investment itself is unlawful. You also say that Ganda Wealth Solutions is not a typical contractor in the strict sense of the word, in that the municipality did not pay them for their services rendered. Well, that may or may not be so, I don't know. I accept what you're telling me. What is clear from the analysis of the money is that they were certainly richly remunerated by VBS for garnering investments and made a vast amount of money for doing very little, also paid huge kickbacks, and that's not in dispute. Huge kickbacks to the people who made the investments. So the whole scheme was a cynical, sick and dodgy scheme to defraud the poorest of the poor people, particularly in Limpopo, and is unconscionable. So Ganda is not a charitable organization that does things because of their love of advancing the cause of South Africans. They did it to make dodgy money, and they made dodgy money, and lots of it. Now, it's the dodgy money that's the problem, because all of their money was dodgy money, and you were the recipient of some of that dodgy money. So, you know, my question to you is, why do you say that because they were not paid, they were not a typical contractor? Of course they were. They were just paid elsewhere. And that being the position then, why did you seek personal financial advice from an entity that was in fact doing business with the municipality of which you were the mayor? The head honcho, the top of the pyramid, where the buck stopped with you, and they knew it. So of course they'd be happy to accommodate you because you've seen what kind of investments were being made for them and the benefits that they accrued from those investments. So there is a conflict of interest. And my question is, why did you not see it? Why did you approach them for advice? They're also styled as Ganda Wealth Solutions, Ganda Wealth Management. Who knows what they were and what they did. But what they were not was a registered service provider or a registered financial services provider. And so they were, in fact, not able to just give loans in the normal course of their business. It wasn't the normal course of their business. In fact, very few loans were made. Lots of kickbacks were paid. All of the stolen money was, you know, dissipated. Very few loans were made. Yours was one of the very few. So why would you have negotiated a loan with an entity doing business with your municipality who was not a registered financial services provider? And did you, at any stage, attempt to get an arm's length, proper, ordinary commercial loan from a bank? Your own bank, wherever you banked. Sure, you would have been able to get a loan from your own bank. So why did you get a loan from them? What was so attractive about doing business with Gando, particularly bearing in mind the extortionate, really extortionate, if your figures are correct in paragraph 27 of your statement, of the interest on a loan of 575,600, you paid interest of 274,399. That's practically 50%. And in fact, it works out to 47%. 47% interest on a loan that, in the bigger scheme of things, is not even huge. Why would you enter into such a one-sided transaction when you could have gone to a real bank and gotten a real loan at a real interest rate? It makes no commercial sense whatsoever, none. And so it makes the whole transaction, forgive me, look exceptionally suspicious. Also, the timing thereof is exceptionally suspicious. Money flows from the municipality to VBS, money flows from VBS to Gando, money flows from Gando to the purchase of the coffee shop, all in the space of a very short period of time. It may be a coincidence, but in a long time of operating in the criminal justice system, I've learned to be very suspicious of a confluence of coincidences. And normally, they point to trouble. And I see no reason to have less suspicion about this entire matter. So if you could help me with that. I'm also then interested in the name of the investment group, T5 Investment Group. Where did the name come from? Was it a shelf company? And if not, what does the T5 stand for? Your name is Tembi. Is it related to you somehow? Have you got 5 investment companies? Is that what the 5 is for? I would be interested to know more about the name. Then I'll move off of that subject because I'm sure that my colleagues have questions and will cover it, but I must deal with the glaring current conflict of interest that certainly exists, whether you want to see it or not, Minister, with respect. That certainly exists between yourself and the National Prosecuting Authority. We all remember, some of us more painfully than others, the demise of Mr. or Advocate Vusi Pikoli as the National Director of Public Prosecutions when Jackie Selebi was prosecuted, and he wouldn't back down. He was instructed to not proceed with the prosecution by the Minister of Justice. He refused to do that because Vusi Pikoli is an honorable man. And he lost his job because of it, much to the absolute destruction of the NPA. Because what happened at the NPA after Mr. Pikoli left could not have happened while he was there. And I think we all know that, and I think you know that too. And he was fired then because there was the supposed breakdown of a relationship between himself and the Justice Minister, who at the time was Minister, I think, Mabandla. Now, if it is so as you want us to believe here, that there's absolutely no possibility of a Justice Minister having any influence over the NPA, and I agree with you, there should be no such influence, and the NPA should tolerate no such influence, none. It's a non-thing, it should never be allowed, but we live in the real world, and we've seen this happen. And so it's not true that the Justice Minister does not have influence over the NPA, even if it's a very subtle influence. Of course you do. And how you choose to exercise it is, of course, up to the Justice Minister. And I've not got any reason to suggest that you've done anything untoward in that regard, and I'm not suggesting it. But perceptions, Minister, are everything. And the public and myself see the justice system as a pyramid. And there's the police, and there's the NPA, and there's the Department of Justice, and then there's you. And you sit at the top of that pyramid. And that's inescapable. It's an ineluctable conclusion that you cannot sit on top of the pyramid while a matter such as this is being investigated. Because it is being investigated. As we read this morning in the papers, the Hawks have executed search and seizure warrants in Polokwane on the office that you occupied. And they're clearly investigating, amongst other things, this transaction. And so there's an inescapable problem there. And there is a conflict of interest. And it doesn't matter how honorably you conduct yourself. It matters that perceptions are everything. And my perception, and I'm sure the perception of the public at large, is that you cannot continue to sit on the top of this pyramid while this matter is pending. So I'd like your view on that. It is a fact. And again, I want to stress this is not personal. It is a fact. It is a perception. It can't be thought away. It doesn't matter how honorably you conduct yourself.